yeah, no, I wouldn't fancy my chances if I was Carl, but you never know. Maybe when they're like really old, they might have like an exhibition or something.
Danica Thorne for Pro Boxing fans. Delighted to have with me over Zoom Shane Watson. Shane, 11 o'clock Wednesday morning. How are we doing?
Very good, mate. Electric start to the day. Here in Spaces in London, Victoria, getting some stuff done, some deals done, some good sponsorship for some fighters as well. Yeah, it's a good day so far, but a long way to go as it's only 15. So.
That's it. To talk to you a bit about KH Majid. Obviously, we caught up at the press conference in Bolton a couple of weeks ago now. It might actually be 2 weeks today. KH went on 8 rounds under the belt. It's just glad to get him back in the ring. Obviously, there was a few outside of the ring issues. We don't need to go into that, but yeah, excited to get the ball rolling again for him, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, it was a good solid win against a guy with a great record who comes to wins, beating people like Levi Casonia fairly comfortably, in my opinion, and maybe not got decisions that he should have done go his way in the past as well. But a very good, solid customer, can definitely punch, definitely strong. Came in overweight, so that was another issue we had to face, like 3.5 pounds overweight. Khalil dealt with that in a mature way, in my opinion. Got a solid 8 rounds, finally a good bit of activity for himself as well. And it puts him right instead for a good and big fight for him next.
Absolutely. You mentioned there you're down in London putting some deals in place. Is that any new fighters coming under your umbrella? Anything you can tell us?
Yeah, yeah, I've got some announcements coming soon with a couple of US talents that I've got under my wing now. Another UK talent as well, which will be getting announced soon. I just don't want to. I've signed them, but I haven't. The promoter hasn't announced that they promoted him yet, and I don't want to announce I've got to sign him until the promoter announces that they signed
Yeah.
him. I think that's the priority rather than people knowing that I manage them. Really, I think
Yeah.
that's more the priority, and that's the part that people actually care about. I don't really care if I manage them or not. So yeah, we're getting that out of the way, letting them announce in their own time. Obviously, with it being there's a few fight nights coming up or whatnot. So I think the promoters obviously prioritise putting that out there first. But fight dates and contracts are signed promoter wise and obviously management wise with me. So yeah, very good, very excited. Good to get underway with Khalil to kick off the new and fresh start. But I've got some other good, exciting things coming that way as well.
How are you finding it out on your own so far?
Do you know what? It's a weird experience, I'll be honest. It was quite weird. And when I did the Manchester one on my own, it's very different because I'm usually going in there with a team of people, like Adam, Harry, and whatnot. So, but obviously, to not have that this time is a bit of a weird experience. I'm sure it's something I'll get used to as time goes on. But it's definitely something a little bit different to what I've experienced before. But yeah, no, it was good. It was exciting. I've enjoyed the experience. Um, yeah, I can't remember anything bad to say about it, but yeah, apart from the fact it was a very late night because we didn't get on until 11:45. I didn't sleep much the night before. I didn't sleep much that night because I had to get a train from Manchester at 6 a.m. It was a very tired Saturday for me, but it was good, all worth it.
I think one thing, no matter what part of boxing you work in, you do always forgo a lot of your sleep. Want to talk to you about a man you used to work very closely with, Johnny Fisher, in the ring this weekend, and what's by far and away the biggest fight of his career. Whether it's going to prove to be the biggest test of his career against Alan Babich this Saturday night at the Copper Box remains to be seen. But yeah, big fight for Johnny. What's your make on it?
Yeah, it's a great fight for Johnny. Superb matchmaking from Tom Dallas at Matchroom, from SJam and Mark Tibbs and Big John, who all have a good and big say in what goes on with Johnny. Yeah, it's a great fight for Johnny. I mean, you've got the personality of Alan Babich. Alan Babich got a lot of good wins under his belt. Obviously, come up massively short against Bazanski. Got knocked out in the first round. He'd been dropped before that. Was that by Adam Balki?
Yeah, I think he was hurt against that Spielmont fella as
In the
well.
first round, wasn't it?
Yeah.
and he got dropped in that fight by a much, much smaller man as well. I know he won on points, but he still got dropped by a much smaller man. Since then, he's come back against Steve Robinson, which, no disrespect to Steve Robinson, but like, fringe English level kind of heavyweight.
Yeah.
Great guy there. But yeah, and he really struggled to put Steve Robinson away, really. Steve Robinson got stopped on his feet. He looked more like he was exhausted rather than her. And he is obviously a very tough man as well, so just give him credit for that. But this is a different kettle of fish with Johnny Fisher. I'm telling you, he's the most underrated domestic heavyweight there is right now. He can seriously punch. He's seriously tough. He's seriously strong, and he can seriously box as well. He's so underrated because of persona he brings and the tickets, and obviously where he didn't have like an unbelievable amateur career. He did all right as an amateur. I mean, he didn't have many amateur bouts. And like obviously where he did like obviously a bit of a TikTok and social media star, I think people then take that means that he's not a very good boxer, and that's why he's a well-known boxer.
Yeah.
But that guy has gone around and sparred every world-class heavyweight there is to spar. He's been sparring Joe for years. He's been sparring Philip Hergovich. He's been sparring Daniel Dubois. He sparred everyone. There was to spar Marius Wack. Like, I know that's a well-random name to chuck in there, but like Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark, he sparred everyone. There was to spar Tyson Fury, Chisora. So he's done all that learning, and they're all like his amateur bouts. But
Yeah.
in sparring, that's where he's getting all of the experience. And to be fair to him, he's gone away to America, sparred Takam and all sorts, like, and put himself in what a lot of people would call an uncomfortable zone. But he's made himself comfortable in an uncomfortable zone, and that's what's brought him on leaps and bounds. And let me tell you, he will absolutely take Babich apart inside 3 rounds. I would be surprised if it goes past 2, but I'll just say 3 to give benefit of a doubt. But because trust me, Johnny Fisher's a much better boxer than Mazansky, and he can punch a lot harder than Mazansky. Obviously, Babich has made changes and gone with Pascal Collins, who's a very good coach, which may help him. I don't know if Babich is really going to change or adapt his style. I don't know if he can. And he's not big enough to be a heavyweight anyway, and he's not big enough to be fighting Johnny Fisher. But I will give credit to Babich. He's tough. He is game, and he's definitely got the best resume up until now for Johnny to fight. So bearing all that in mind, you have to give him credit and respect. But yeah, I'm just being quite upfront and honest. Johnny Fisher will take him apart and smash him to pieces.
You mentioned there how you think Johnny's there with the most underrated heavyweights about today. Do you feel as if some people are starting to take him a bit more seriously, particularly since the Harry Armstrong performance?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's won for Southern Aero title, which is a very respected belt amongst the hardcore, amongst the old school Brits, that love boxing. Harry Armstrong's a decent amateur.
Yeah.
He fought like Lauren Tacoli. I think he fought Joe Joyce as an amateur as well. Could be wrong, but I think he did. He went around and boxed everyone as an amateur as well. So yeah, he's a good fighter, Harry Armstrong. It takes a good fighter to beat him. He's no mug, he's not the biggest puncher in the world, but he's definitely a good boxer.
Yeah.
And he's definitely awkward. And you know what? It's not the stats, it's the way Johnny beat him. Like, watch Jamie TV against Harry Armstrong, right? Like, he couldn't put a dent in him whatsoever. And I really respect Jamie TV, by the way. This is not me slagging Jamie DKV off at all. It's just me saying that Johnny Fisher can seriously, seriously punch. The way he put him down in the first round, the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I remember at the time I was actually pissed off. I was like, we literally brought Harry Armstrong in to give you rounds. And if this goes over in 30 seconds, everyone's going to think he was a nobody. And it's not. He is a good fighter. I was quite happy when he got 7 rounds. And where like 2 or 3 rounds were a bit competitive. It was good for Johnny because he needs that to push him on to the next level and be ready for guys like Babich and so on. And maybe one day Wardley, or maybe one day Fraser Clark, or whatever, or maybe Dave Allen or whatever. You need them kind of rounds to prepare you what's going to be a tough road ahead in the future, which was what Harry Armstrong was really good for, and it got Johnny's first belt. So yeah, it's really good win for Johnny that was, and it's going to get an even better win on Saturday night.
Yeah, well, Saturday night with the England game and the Bosch Army is sure to be lively down in London. Shane, just while I've got you, it's going to be crazy, isn't it?
Honestly,
While I've got you, got to talk about this Carl Froch, Anthony Joshua WhatsApp leak. I mean, it's sort of anytime I speak to someone about it, it's either people think it's sort of like bad taste, and then some people just seem to find it quite funny. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I don't know what. Like, it's a difficult one for me because I've known Carl a long time, and Carl's a good guy. He's a good guy, he's a funny guy. And I think that's what certain personalities can understand Carl Froch a bit better than others.
Yeah.
So like Carl Froch has got quite a similar personality, I would say, to like Johnny Fisher and myself in the sense that we've got a very dry sense of humour, like David Brent-ish kind of humour, yeah.
Yeah.
And only certain people will appreciate it and enjoy that, and I'm definitely one of them, right? So if you don't get it, I can see why it would piss you off. So someone like AJ, who I'm assuming, well, by the looks of things, doesn't appreciate that kind of humour, I can see why it would wind him up. And obviously, it's probably a little bit strange because I'm assuming that they were quite good friends back in the day because
Yeah.
obviously there were photos of them when they were both working with Rob McCracken and stuff, and they looked like they were relatively good mates. And back in the day, he used to speak quite highly of Anthony Joshua. And obviously, Anthony Joshua fought his undercard against Matt Legg, I believe, when it was the Cobra rematch against George Groves. So yeah, like, I've seen that there's always been quite a good relationship there, to be fair. But the thing is, obviously, Cole's got this YouTube channel now, and he calls out AJ for what he believes he is. Whether that's right or wrong, he's entitled to his opinion, aren't we all? And obviously, AJ just got pissed off about it and had enough, really, because it's been going on for ages. So none of them are really wrong. AJ has the right to respond to him and call him a prick. That's what he thinks he is. But Carl Froch has the right to say he thinks AJ's a knob. Because that's what he thinks. He can say it. But I just think, the WhatsApp messages, putting it online and all that, that's really a little bit silly, I think. I think they just need to have a beer or whatever and have it out. Not have it out as another fight, that would be very fair. But and Cole's just had his nose done, so don't want to do that again. But yeah, I just think it's a bit silly, really. And the thing is, AJ needs to remember when he's responding and doing this, he's doing what Cole wants him to do. That he literally will come to me when I'm trying to wind someone up. I will go out my way to wind them up, and that's what Carl Froch is doing. And it's generating views and subscribers for his channel, which is ultimately what he wants to do. So yeah, I would just bear that in mind. Like my AJ, I would be like, you know what, he wants me to respond and he wants me to get angry so he can then post about it and then generate a lot of views and generate revenue. So that's where every time AJ responds, he's literally paying Carl Froch. So maybe you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you touched on, I think I know what your answer to this question is going to be, but I saw Carl on an interview with some online casino, and to know how serious he was, but he sort of called for AJ to meet him for a straightener. Carl was sort of known as like, whenever you ask people in boxing, who would you want by your side in a street fight, Carl Froch is one of the names you'll hear most often thrown about. Would you give him any chance against AJ if they were to have it out in the street?
Well, Carl Froch with AJ. Do you know what? I'll give Carl Froch, a chance against anyone on the cobbles, right? Almost anyone. But a 6'6", 18 stone Anthony Joshua. Can you imagine what Anthony Joshua's punches like without gloves on as well? It's just sickening to even think about, isn't it? Like, I don't give him any chance. But Carl Froch against anyone that's not a world level heavyweight boxer on the cobbles, I would fancy him, to be fair. But yeah, not Anthony Joshua, because all he don't even have to really connect to it, does he? The afters catches you a little bit.
Yeah.
Lights out, and if he gets you on the floor, I don't reckon he'll stop either. So yeah, no, I wouldn't fancy my chances if I was Carl, but you never know. Maybe when they're like really old, they might have like an exhibition or something.
That's a
On
good
like
shout,
Triller.
actually.
They
Yeah.
like an old fight on Triller, don't they? So you never know. One day that might happen, but they just need to hug it out, man. Do you know what it is? Well, unfortunately, is like a very quite protective guy. Like he probably doesn't like the way that AJ split with Rob McCracken.
Yeah.
And they're still very good friends now. I'm no way saying that he split him the wrong way or done something wrong. I don't actually know why or what was said. I'm just saying from Cole's point of view, that probably just pissed him off a little bit. But yeah, I think Rob was like a father figure to Cole, so
Yeah.
that's it. But like I said, it's just petty, isn't it? Just get on with it, man. It's just silly. I don't really know what the argument is. He's just saying that AJ quit against Ruiz, isn't he? No, it's not really. He doesn't respect him. He doesn't really like him. It's fine. You ain't got to like everyone in boxing.
Yeah. Uh, Carr's not the only man. AJ's had a bit of tension with recently. Obviously, we saw the face-off with Daniel Dubois. Had to be sort of separated. I mean, I don't know how likely it was that they were ever going to kick off, but AJ seemed to be pretty riled up by Daniel. Well, what do you make of this sort of new Daniel Dubois we're seeing? I know I spoke to you about the fight, so we don't really need to get into that, but Daniel seems to have the bit between his teeth.
Not really a new Daniel Dubois though. You go back to Joyce fight, he said something very wrong about Joe's mum, didn't he? The press conference.
Oh yeah, he did. That's
You know,
right.
yeah, I think he's always had a little bit there, but whether it's front or put on, I don't know. I mean, he should be high in confidence. He's coming off two very good wins, especially last one. That was a very, very good win that no one really gave him a chance in, including myself. So, yeah, he should be feeling up for it. He did. Whenever Dubois says something, like, like when he was saying to Babe Miller, I mean, I'm going to be your daddy, saying
Yeah.
that, yeah, I don't know. Whenever he says something, I just can't even laugh. Like, it's just the way he says it. It's just like, I don't know, it's funny. But listen, it's good. He's got to have the grip between his teeth, and he does have to feel nice, and he's going to have to be brutal and whatnot because he's in the fight of his life in September. It's a very, very hard fight. One I don't really give him much chance in at all. Listen, he's always got a puncher's chance. He can definitely punch, that's for sure. And he's definitely a bit more tried and tested when it comes to his chin. He's definitely so he maybe overcome like the mental side of the defeat to Joe Joyce, which I think it took the Miller fight for him to get over. I think it really did have that much of an effect on his whole career. So yeah, it's a great fight. It was quite interesting when AJ was just staring him down as well. He tried to smash his chair with his teeth. But no, yeah, definitely an interesting one. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see Liam Gallagher live in Wembley as well.
Yeah, will you be there in Wembley?
Was that?
You gonna go?
Oh yeah, I'll be going. I'll be going. Yeah, yeah. All being well. I mean, you never know. Right, could have a clash of dates or something by that time. I don't know who would be silly enough to put on a fight the same night as that, but hopefully nobody does. But yeah, if it doesn't, I'll be going.
Good stuff. Well, Shane, we'll wrap it up there. I've taken up enough of your time this morning. Leave the final word with you. What's next year? What do you got coming up? Any announcements pending the next couple of weeks, you say?
Yeah, next couple of weeks. I mean, literally, these kind of things just come out of nowhere, right? But I could just be sitting here and I'll check my phone and somebody gets announced. I'm like, oh, right. But I would say it would be hopefully in the next week. I would say 2 weeks max, but then again, it could be tomorrow. Like, you never know with these things, honestly. Just when the promoter decides to put stuff out and then you crack on from there.
Happy days. Well, we look forward to it. Wrap it up there, mate. Thanks very much.